morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another Year About car review, and welcome back to another SUV. Today we are in the BMW X5 30D. Now the BMW X5 has been a car which has done really well for BMW, and this new generation of BMW X5, I'm pretty sure is going to carry on that good streak for BMW. So to show you why I believe this car is going to do well for BMW, I'm going to first jump out, show you the exterior, then I'm going to show you the interior. I'm going to talk you through some of the technology and features that the car has, and then lastly we'll jump back into the car and do a bit of a drive. If you're new around here and this is the first time you're watching a Year About car review, please do consider subscribing and liking. It definitely means a lot and it helps out a lot with the YouTube algorithm. The rear of the X5 is definitely my favorite part of the car. You have these really cool 3D lights which give it an amazingly futuristic look. When you see the car on the road, it has a very nice wide stance as well, which makes it look modern and sporty. The car has lots of sculpture at the back, and you also have these very large exhausts which again give it a nice sporty look. Similarly to the X5, the X7 also has a fake diffuser, which is not really the best because, as you can see, it's a bit short, which means that you see all the ugly exhaust bits underneath. The side of the X5 has this line which sort of goes above the rear wheel, which somehow reminds me of the line that you get on most Bentleys. Other than that, there's not much really to shout about on the side profile of the X5. You do, however, get a fake vent here which goes absolutely nowhere. These are also the 21-inch upgraded M alloy wheels. They are absolutely massive with a 315 width tire. The M Sport package does mean that you do get blue brake calipers. The front of the X5 is where I think BMW could have pushed the boundaries a little bit more. I just don't think it's miles ahead of the previous generation. BMW usually do a very good job with their lights. They're often very aggressive, very sleek, and give the car a nice sporty feel. However, on the X5 I think they've sort of missed their mark. They're just a bit bulky, and I don't see why BMW didn't make the light go all the way to the grille, when 90% of new BMWs come with that specific design feature. I just think in a few years' time the front of the X5 might look a bit outdated because of that. The lower part of the front bumper does, however, have some very nice sculpture. You can see that these really nice big air vents here, and you have an air vent here on the side where you can see directly through the tire. BMW still, however, found a place to put a fake vent onto the car. This is on the left hand side, but BMW have been a bit clever and they've sort of recessed the plastic bit a few mils behind the actual grate. The X5 interior is very well designed, and when you step inside of it you definitely get the sporty feel. The materials in the X5 are definitely not the highest caliber, but they are definitely adequate for this level of car. The build quality is also exceptional. Everywhere you touch and feel, it feels well put together and it feels nice and sturdy. The X5 dashboard is basically the exact same dashboard that you get in the X7, which is a good thing for the X5 because the X7 is a more premium and more luxurious car. The X5 also has a perfume system in the glove box. However, it does end up eating most of your glove box, and I would say it's not really worth it because it is quite useless. It's definitely not as good as the one that you get in the Mercedes-Benz. The legroom in the rear of the X5 is pretty decent. You also get a USB-C port up top and your own air conditioning system in the middle. I will, however, point out that the rear seats are very upright and there is no adjustment to recline them. I don't understand why this is the case when even the BMW X3 has a reclining option. The X5 also definitely has a big enough boot, so you could easily recline these seats quite a bit. The boot of the X5 is absolutely massive. You also get a split tailgate to make loading a little bit easy and to ensure that your stuff doesn't always fly out if you open the boot. A nice neat feature on this particular BMW X5 is the electric parcel shelf. So if you click this button here, a parcel shelf will automatically raise from the floor of the boot. This is quite a cool feature because it is a big boot obviously, and you don't want to be leaning in all the time to get to your parcel shelf. The X5 not only has run flats but also a spare wheel situated here in the boot. That is quite good for long journeys where you can basically be assured that you're not going to be completely stuck. The center screen in the X5 is definitely one of the best. It is very crisp and all the content on it does look really cool. The X5 entertainment system, while it is good, is definitely not my favorite at the moment. I think it is a bit complicated and a bit gimmicky. If you want to see a full comprehensive look through of this infotainment system, I'll leave a link down below of a walk around I do of the car where I basically show you every single feature that the X5 has to offer. The car does have a digital instrument cluster as standard. What is nice is that BMW have slowly updated the car over time, so you can now get your Apple CarPlay and Android Auto directions showing up in your instrument cluster. The X5, in my opinion, however, is a bit poorly spec'd as a standard car. For example, you don't get a very advanced cruise control system which can steer for you. The car is also lacking a heads-up display as standard, and you also don't get a basic feature such as blind spot assist. In terms of off-roading features, you do get hill descent control, and you also get an option to adjust the ride level. Jumping back into the X5. The X5 is honestly one of the most all-rounded cars in my opinion, and I thoroughly do enjoy driving this car. There's a few reasons for that, but it's mostly because of the way the car comes together that makes it a fantastic daily drive. So starting off underneath the hood, we have a 3-litre 6-cylinder diesel engine, which is one of the most refined diesel engines I've ever driven. It honestly feels more like a petrol. It's very, very smooth and very nice to get around town with. It has 620 Newton meters of torque, which is ample. On the highway, you're never really going to feel like you're lacking any power, and around town, it's definitely enough to dart into gaps and throw the car around a little bit. Now, the suspension on the X5, while not as complicated as the bigger brother X7, which has cameras in the windscreen to monitor the road and adjust the suspension for any imperfections, I still believe that the X5 rides nearly as well as the X7. It is extremely composed, extremely comfortable around town and across bumps, and on the highway, of course, it's fantastic. One of my favorite aspects of the car, which is slightly odd, is actually the steering wheel and the weighting of the steering wheel. It is really nice and relaxed and easy to maneuver when you want it to be around town, but when you do want to push the car a little bit, it is fairly responsive and fairly direct, and it makes the car really nice and enjoyable to drive. It also makes the car feel a little bit smaller than it is. When it comes to overall wind noise and road noise, it's honestly very, very good and a very nice, quiet, calm space to be in. Now, when you combine all of the driving aspects that I've just mentioned, along with the practicality, the looks, you end up with a very nice, all-round daily driver, and a car that you're definitely not going to be disappointed in. To conclude then, should you buy the BMW X5? I honestly believe that it is a fantastic car, and a car that you're not really going to be disappointed in. It does everything you need it to do, and it's just going to be a pleasurable car to drive. There are a few things though that if you do have the opportunity to spec out one of these cars or choose one of these cars, that I would highly recommend you do. Number one, I think you need to add some sort of autopilot to the car. It's going into 2022 and 2023. I just think it's ridiculous that cars of this caliber and of this price range don't have any autopilot on it. Also add in blind spot assist. Maybe if you want to take it up a notch and make it a bit more like the X7, add in some of the BMW individual options to get the extended leather or some finer wood. And that's it basically from me. If you guys have any questions on the BMW X5, please do let me know down below, and I'll try my best to answer them. And if you want to see the full review or full walk around of the car, I'll leave a link down below.